In terms of the AI infrastructure that's going in right now, what do you think the impact is going to be on jobs? Because I've heard a saying that says that AI is not going to create more jobs; it's simply going to redistribute them to fewer people.
Yeah, this is a topic that I love, that I think most people get wrong. I think this will be massively positive long term for jobs. Just massively. Just play out the scenario, okay? Like,
I'm listening.
In what world do we end up reducing the amount of scarcity and increasing productivity globally that doesn't ultimately benefit humans in a whole number of ways, including more opportunity and better jobs?
But we're talking about a technology that fundamentally changes work and our lives as we know it, because it's going to be made to make our lives easier, but it's also available to make businesses more efficient and more profitable. And efficiency and profitability and human work doesn't really go hand in hand when you have a technology like AI who you can train up to do those specific tasks. So that kind of doesn't really make sense to me, but let me hear what he's talking about.
And just better life. Will there be hiccups in the short run? Yes. Can we actually define what jobs look like in 25 years? Absolutely not. But I want you to envision a world where AI continues to accelerate over the next 20 years. You will have a world where we're going to have millions, if Elon is correct, billions of robots. What they look like, who knows? But there will be billions and billions of robots all around the world. There will be new industries being formed because we now have this intelligence that makes everything so unbelievably easy and cheap and productive to deliver value or to start new things, right? Essentially, any human on Earth can create entertainment on the fly. Whatever's in your head, you're able to actually express.
So everybody's going to have to become a content creator. Everybody's going to have to go into some form of entertainment, because regular labor jobs, the robots got that. That doesn't really make sense. And the fact that he's focused on a 20, 25 year timeline, what happens in between that? Is that the short term to you? Because that's not short term for a lot of people who need to figure out what they're going to do to work and what jobs they're going to have right now. You know what I mean? AI, if it advances the way we think it's going to advance, is going to be so disruptive. People are going to be scrambling to try and find out something that they're going to do. I mean, what happens if you go to school for however long, you spent money on your student loans, and you turn around and AI completely changes the work that you do, and your industry isn't around like that because AI is there to do it. You just wasted your time. What about those people? He doesn't even sound like he really believes what he's talking about now.
Without having the skill set of being able to actually produce music yourself, right? You have a helper there. You don't have to be able to produce a TV show or go raise funding to produce a TV show. Envision that world and just imagine how much demand we will have for humans. How many more products will we have? How many more machines will we have that need to be serviced and delivered and taken care of and sold?
How much more competition there's going to be? Because there's not going to be anybody doing basic jobs like trash collection or putting together food or home keepers, home cleaners, things like basic jobs, window washing, construction. What happens when you have all these robots that are able to do these jobs that humans used to be hired to do? Now everybody has to go be an entertainer? I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
A world with more things requires more work from humans, right? So like, I am 100%.
If there's only humans in the world, you just talked about there's going to be billions of robots. So the amount of work that is going to be needed from humans isn't going to be the same because the robots are going to be doing the work. You see how I'm kind of like not really following what he's talking about?
Not convinced in this.
I'm not convinced.
Like, this is not even debatable to me. What a job is in 25 years might look very different from what a job is today, but there will be more and better jobs as a result of AI and robotics in 20 to 30 years. Now, again, between now and then, will we have hiccups? Yeah. The issue is we can't foresee how that problem gets solved if AI moves too quickly and disrupts too many job positions, but we will fix that problem. So like humans, we don't fix big problems until the pain of not fixing that problem becomes bigger than the pain of taking action. Okay. So right now, the pain of, like, let's just say it was increasing taxes. That's a huge pain. Like, we're not going to increase taxes unless we absolutely have to for something, right? If we have 50 million people that are jobless in 8 years because of AI, do you not think we're going to resolve that? Of course we're going to resolve that.
But how are you going to resolve it? And why don't you just take preemptive measures to make sure that 50 million people being out of work isn't a thing? How about you put policy in place that limits the amount of AI businesses can implement, or maybe they need a certain amount of human workers in certain positions working alongside AI. So maybe the displacement isn't as massive and it doesn't hit as fast. But he's right. The world doesn't fix problems until they just become so big and you can't ignore it anymore. And it's a shame that that's what's going to happen to people's jobs and their livelihoods.
That, because if we don't resolve that, the pain of not resolving that will end up be people overthrowing our government and coming with, picks and shovels to actually kill us. Okay.
Picks and shovels ain't going to do nothing to the government. I just don't see picks and shovels going to the government as something that's going to happen without the government being like, nah, y'all sit y'all asses down. Let's figure this out.
Okay, so that problem will get solved when it needs to get solved.
But don't you think that the government would then just step in and subsidize life if you had this massive unemployed workforce that should be working? Then that's kind of what we've seen in the past, is like the government steps in, like they've done with education, and now, housing is becoming less affordable. So now they're thinking about introducing 50-year mortgages.
Okay, so
which is a horrible idea anyway. But shit, the government gonna have to step in and give everybody permanent stimulus life packages and shit. If AI is taking all the jobs, we need permanent stimulus packages from all these companies' profit. If that's the case and AI becomes that big and all these companies start using AI instead of real workers, shit, the companies take something out their profits and pay it to the society. Tax the companies whatever their profit margin is, instead of making just the companies and these CEOs even richer than before. Take the money that they're making and put it on a stimulus package to the regular people. I don't know if that shit will work, but
the answer is maybe, yes, it will get solved. Will the government solve it? Maybe. Someone will solve it.
Might and maybe
because
someone.
The alternative is so catastrophic that we would never allow that to happen. And by the way, not to mention the fact, if AI becomes that great to displace tens and tens of millions of workers, probably going to be pretty great at helping us solve those problems too. I have always thought, not to get too into politics, I always stay out of politics. I have some of my very closest friends on the furthest right as you can get, and some of my very closest friends are literally as far left as you can get, and everything in between. And I've just been this guy in the middle my whole life. I kind of call myself like a radical centrist, because I just like to solve problems. So much of this is about misunderstanding and miscommunication and sentiment and feelings, and people just not coming up with solutions because we have all these obstacles to coming up with solutions. AI doesn't have that. I think AI is going to actually play a really big role in helping us solve all of these huge problems that we have today when it comes to how do we spend money as a government, because that's what most people on the right have an issue with. I don't think...
When he says stuff like that, I just think of, what if AI starts coming up with a crazy solution, like, how about we just destroy half the population? Or what if AI starts coming out with solutions like that? I'm thinking too sci-fi. But honestly, is that far-fetched?
I think billionaires or millionaires would have any issue paying more taxes if they had confidence that the money was being spent appropriately to help humanity. I really don't, and to help their neighbors, and because that benefits them, right? Because those people are their friends, their family. We all want the same thing. Most of us want the same outcome, right? We just don't know how. We argue over how to get there. So I think AI is going to do a really good job helping not just companies become, because everyone's talking about companies becoming more productive and efficient. Like, it's going to help governments in a really big way, and no one's talking about that. And
Don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think it's, and I don't know, maybe I'm just skeptical, but I think it's going to make governments even more sketchy. I mean, was never under the impression that the government was really for the people anyway. So we'll see.
once AI gets into government, which it will, and actually helps government figure out how to be more productive with our money, I think we're going to see such massive efficiencies there, and what we can actually do with our tax dollars to help people. It's one of the things I'm actually most excited about this AI revolution. So yes, we'll have hiccups.
All the things that he's saying is making me less and less confident about AI, because one, he doesn't even seem confident in things he's saying, and two, you're thinking that people are going to use AI and all these incredibly powerful technologies for good. You just think everybody in the world is just good. Like, there may be people who would like to use it for good, but just as there's people who would like to use AI and all those different technologies for good, there's the other side who wants to use it for complete bullshit. We've already seen like people using AI to hack different things. I can only imagine there's going to be situations where AI is being used to influence government and politics, especially if AI gets to the point where it's flawless in whatever it generates. Imagine the amount of deep fakes that could be going on and people getting set up from different things like that. Like, I think you got to have both. You can't just be 100% like, oh, AI is just going to be so good for the world. You have to look at all the way around and the negatives that can happen just based on human history. Power corrupts, and the AI is a crazy power. I don't know how he's so confident.
It will not be a long-term problem. And I don't know exactly what the solution will be or how it will play out. I just know we'll figure out how to like even out the bumps along the way. But ultimately, we will have better and more jobs for humans as a result of this. There's like no doubt in my mind. Like, I would bet everything I have on that. China is racing towards AI superiority, okay? And that, more than anything else, ensures that the U.S. government is going to support and, if needed, backstop our AI ambitions, okay? Nothing in the world motivates a country to backstop something and to support it more than its competing enemy that is pushing forward on that frontier.
Nobody's worried about the competition of like, we know countries are going full throttle on AI. Nobody's worried that AI is a bubble or anything like that. The issue is how AI is going to be used. These countries are racing for AI superiority to have a leg up over other countries, to use AI to build technologies and weapons to gain power and leverage over other countries. That's what the whole world is based on, power and leverage. Not like everyone wants the world to be successful. That's like not real.
So that's something that I think people don't fully appreciate. So when we're talking about AI and all these big investments, like, we don't have a choice. Our government doesn't have a choice. Like, even if there is some degree of unknowns, or like, hey, we're not exactly sure how this is going to play out, the government is not going to allow the US to fall meaningfully behind China in this AI race. So whatever needs to happen, whether there are government incentives on AI data centers or energy, whatever needs to happen, the government is required to ensure that happens, because this is the new arms race. Think about it. If China becomes the country that's able to produce products 5x cheaper than us, right? They have intelligence on future warfare,
Right.
and
Right.
weapons, right? And on vaccines. Like, you can't let China have AGI. You can't let China get super intelligence like meaningfully before you have it. That's a national security risk. So there is an inferred backstop here on the sector, which is the government. Now,
The security risk is the AI race in general. That is the security risk. And it's not just now, it's to the entire world because of what they're racing. They know the capabilities of AI if you continue to push the limits. So they're going to continue to race to be the first ones to reach those capabilities, to be the first ones to be able to make their businesses more efficient, to create these weapons. We already know this, but what happens when we get there? What happens when we get there and the way warfare happens is different, where you don't have to directly attack a country. You just shut down their economy. You just send your hackers over and completely shut down their economy. You turn off the power grid. What happens then? It's gonna be a whole different ball game. And we're on the road to like dealing with a technology and not having any idea how far it can go.
The CEOs are not going to talk about it because
Well, Sam Altman kind of
he kind
alluded
of
to
did,
it.
and it created quite a stir. But it's there, guys. It's there. We all know it's there. They all know it's there. Sam knows it's there. Like all the big tech CEOs, they all know it's there. Jensen knows it's there. This is too big to fail. It
I
already
feel
is.
like those are famous last words.
It
like
is.
Too big to fail.
But it was last time, and look how it got saved. Okay? This now I say too big to fail as a sector. Companies can obviously fail, right? But when you look at the infrastructure sitting behind it, the infrastructure really is too big to fail. This infrastructure might be the most important thing that our country works on the next 20 years. And we need to ensure that we are in lockstep, if not ahead of China, every step of the way. You can love it or hate it, but that's just the way it is. And that adds to my confidence level because there will be moments that will be really rough along the way. There will be moments when, like today, like complete freak out moments, maybe way, way worse than today.
Maybe way, way worse than today. Like, I don't think we want to see way, 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 way worse than it's just like the stock market going down or anything like that. We don't want to see that. But that's a reality that people are going to have to deal with and prepare for as much as you can.
The government's going to be there. You think they're going to let our AI superpowers just completely fall apart and let China move forward with AGI and superintelligence and have access to all the next generation weapons and warfare and vaccines?
But doesn't that then mean that it's really going to be the taxpayer who ends up funding AI?
Possibly.
And
course,
do you think
of
this is the
course.
reason why they're investing so much right now? Because they know we can't go belly up because the government wouldn't let us. So we may as well take riskier bets right now.
Great
there
question.
are a lot of reasons to take those big bets because, again, it's an asymmetrical risk reward. If AI does what everyone believes it will, and again, it's not about us reaching AGI in like 2 years. It could be 10 years, 15. It doesn't really matter. We've already seen enough. We know where it's headed. You can't not be part of that. It's just so obvious. It's like saying you're not going to be part of the internet when it came out.
Right.
Like, like,
Exactly.
listen, it didn't cost that much to be web oriented as a company when that happened. This just happens to cost more, but you can't just not be part of it. Even look at what Apple's doing right now, right? Behind the scenes, you know that like Apple's trying to figure out a way to leverage Google, to leverage all the stuff they're doing. Apple has a lot of data for Google. I think this is what you're going to see really soon. Apple is going to lean on Google's models for all their AI the next few years. And I think they're going to get a great deal for that because Apple has so much crucial data for Google to share back. I think that's going to be the deal that plays out. But even Apple, who's behind on AI, they will catch up.
Does it worry you about the circular financing nature?
No, not at all.
Why?
It's what has to happen. The circular financing is a huge problem if this doesn't work out.
So explain the circular financing to.
So basically, if you're NVIDIA and you're essentially financing your customers to buy your own chips, essentially, there's a lot of different ways that it's happening right now. If your customers go belly up, you're taking the hit too, right? So that's where we get into trouble. Circular financing could be not such a bad thing if everything moves in the right direction. If this whole thing falls apart and we're not able to monetize artificial intelligence at the corporate level, at the consumer level, if there's no monetization that eventually comes in over the next 5 to call it 8, 9, 10 years, that's a problem. And yeah.
There's going to be plenty of ways to monetize AI. What I'm curious to see is how many people are going to actually be able to pay for it and afford it if AI is replacing all the jobs. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. This was a very interesting video, and we went over a lot, but what do y'all think the future of AI is really going to look like? Let me know what y'all think. I'll see you on the next one.